All right, week 9 review. We've just got a couple of plays here. Start with, we're going to look at just an example of what we mean by advantage, disadvantage. And often we talk about a team's intent to deceive. So here's a screen pass. So we're going to have when the ball is released from the quarterback's hand, we're going to have a lineman more than 2 yards downfield. Okay, so he's throwing the ball at this point. Got a lineman 3 yards downfield, maybe another one. I'm not sure that is up there, but that's a lineman 3 yards downfield. So if this pass has to be behind the line of scrimmage, or we're going to have an ineligible player downfield. All right, if we watch, we see that the ball is tipped and then falls incomplete beyond the line of scrimmage. So this is a situation where, by the rule book, we have a pass that's crossed the neutral zone. So we have ineligible players downfield by the rule book. But by philosophy, so here's where we go. Let's all the way back to district camp. We talked about mechanics, rules, and philosophies. So by philosophy, we don't want a foul here, okay? So by the book, it's a foul. By philosophy, no foul, okay? Because the intent was to run a screen pass. The obvious intent was to run a legal play. There was no intention to deceive in any way here, and there's no advantage gained here because the pass was incomplete. Say there's no advantage gained, no intent to deceive, so no flag. Okay, so if you have a screen pass and it's tipped, or even if it's not tipped, if he overthrows him, these are high school quarterbacks, okay, high school running backs, all right. If they incomplete this screen pass, then we're not going to worry about the lineman downfield, okay, because there's no advantage gained and there's no intent to deceive. And that philosophy applies to all of our non-safety related fouls. So your safety related fouls are different, all right? That's a different category of foul. If we think somebody's potentially doing something that could be hurtful, that's a flag. That's your blindside blocks, hits out of bounds, the 15-yard face masks, all those things, contact on defenseless receivers, targeting, all of that. If you think you see it, if you think that's what they did, it's a foul. Flag it, okay? On the non-safety related things, we need to always look at it through the lens of advantage, disadvantage, and intent to deceive, okay? If we have either of those, then flag it. If not, let it go. All right. Now, not to beat a dead horse about helping the runner, okay? But I just want to use these two plays right here as an example of what we likely see a lot this time of year is some kind of new trick, some kind of new gimmick, some kind of variation on an old gimmick. We're looking at week 9 games. We're going into week 10. We're going into the playoffs. The coaches are going to pull out all the stops, so to speak. All right. If they've been working on something, any kind of a trick play, they're going to run it this week. There's not a next week. If you're eliminated from the playoffs, there is no next week after this Friday. If you're in the first round, week after that, there is no next week for the losing team. They're going to put all their cards on the table. Okay. So they're going to come up with all sorts of things. All right. So here we're going to see just 2 examples of how now we're going to run the tush push in some kind of other manner and see if we can get away with it that way. Okay. Instead of the traditional Philadelphia Eagles version, we've come up with some other way. So here's an example of where we're going to hand it to the running back, and then the second running back is going to push him through the line. Okay. So if you watch here, we have a handoff, and then the trailing running back shoves him through the line, correctly flagged. Okay. That's helping the runner. It's not helping the quarterback, but it's helping the runner. The runner's a runner, okay? So this is a different variation of it. I don't know if they come up with this to try to get around the rule or what, but anyway, 100% illegal. All right, here's another variation of it. Watch the left tackle. All right, watch the left tackle. So we think of the infamous tush push play as the running back's going to push the quarterback. Now the left tackle is looping around behind the quarterback and trying to shove him through the line. That's helping the runner. Doesn't matter who helps him, doesn't matter who has the ball. Okay. So, again, just a couple little variations to an illegal play to try to see if they can get away with it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But be looking for anything like that this week and next week and anytime during the playoffs. If they've got a fake punt that they've been working on all year, you're going to see it this week or next. Okay, make sure it's legal. If they've got a trick play they've been working on all year, nobody's seen it yet, they're going to use it this week or next week. So be ready for those things. Question the coaches, the head coach in the pregame. Ask them, do you have any trick plays, any odd plays? Are you going to try to push your players through the line of scrimmage? Are you going to try to shift to make the other team encroach? Go through this list of things, this checklist with them, and see if we can stop a lot of the illegal activity before it ever starts. That is by far the best way to handle it. But once the game starts, be ready for anything, okay, because it's week 10. All right, so good luck in week 10.